Hi, welcome to another episode of Car to Car. I'm Ramon.
And hi, I'm Dana. And today we'll discuss a topic. Ramon, is accountability the missing component in policing?
I think it's a major part of it. And the reason I say that is because accountability helps restore trust. And that trust is between the community and the police department, or even internally between, officers in the department of how discipline is um, equaled out. Um, it keeps equality and supervision. It makes sure that all officers are treated the same way, no matter if they're a friend or foe of the department or that supervisor. Um, Officers have to make sure that their behaviors are equal and they're just, because if they know that there's going to be some form of accountability that comes with their actions, then you'll see a different level of action by the police officers when it comes to maintaining professional standards, and um, it also helps reduce liability. Uh, some of the cons of the of accountability can be sometimes leadership really focuses on loyalty over standards, and that's where you see some of us have some bad apples because of that. Um, Misconduct is um, not disciplined the same. Um, the department sometimes can lean heavily towards people who are out there giving them stats over being accountable for their actions, because you see a lot of people that are extremely aggressive or proactive have some issues with discipline. And so sometimes the department allows that to happen so that they can continue to get these numbers. And, you know, also accountability hurts when it comes to um, not ensuring that all officers are following policies, uh, because it allows for a personal bias to make the decision as opposed to decisions that are made policy based. You even see some sergeants that are afraid to even um, discipline officers because of, they're afraid of conflict with the officers, or they're afraid of the unfortunately the fraternal order of police or the chief of police. And so, there's it may be the missing component here, because I do believe that there needs to be more accountability in policing, because that's what's expected from the citizens.
I agree. And I think with accountability, it's easier if you start off being accountable. A perfect example: if a supervisor meets his crew, and on the first day you give your expectations, and obviously your expectations are going to be policy based expectations, and also just various things you need for the community. But if violations occur, if you talk to the person when the first violation occurs or offer training when the second one occurs, then it's easier to lower the boom, obviously, when you have to, because you've told your expectations, you've given progressive um, discipline. So it should be natural. Everyone should feel comfortable when it's time to mete out the appropriate discipline if the behavior becomes egregious. And but if you never do that, if you always give it a pass and you let things go and you let things go because of different issues, favoritism, just afraid to supervise and hold people accountable, then other people get to see that behavior is acceptable, and now you have a culture of lack of accountability.
No, I agree. And I look at this, when we talk about accountability and how it all shakes out, there's a level of accountability that should start with the Constitution, the oath we take, state laws, local laws, policies, and things of that nature. And I know why sometimes we don't hold officers accountable, because departments get embarrassed, chiefs of police get embarrassed, the liability that comes with it.
Hmm.
I,
But that should be different. Shouldn't it be that to hold people accountable is showing you're being responsive and you're being proactive and to upholding your standards? There's no embarrassment in that. I think you should take pride in that.
I agree, but I mean, I just look at our department. We had some of those similar issues because of that. And so, I think if we're as leaders, because it's top down approach. So if your mayor preaches accountability, your city manager preaches accountability, your commissioners preach accountability, if everybody from the top down preaches accountability, it's going to go to the directors of each department, the director of fire, the director of police, the director of sanitation. So, because there is nuance in all of that, I think you have that issue. I remember when we were prepping for this, you were talking about Obama's 6 pillars.
Yes. Obviously, the Presidential Task Force on 21st Century Policing, policy and oversight was one of the major components. And, as opposed to building trust as well, technology and social media, community policing and crime reduction, officer training and education, officer safety and wellness. Um, so all those run into each other. But policy and oversight is a huge component, and just making sure you have the appropriate officers on the street to begin with.
I agree. And the last thing I'll say is that, you know, we have to show a level of accountability because there's an expectation by the community, I believe, that if they get a ticket, if the police writes them a ticket, they expect us to get a ticket. If we arrest them, they expect us to arrest ourselves. And I always say this, no matter how much goodwill we do in the community, backpack giveaways, bicycles, turkeys, Christmas toys, whatever, no matter how much goodwill we does, once a situation happens where an officer needs to be held accountable and we don't, all that goodwill goes out of the window. And
Agreed.
to add to that is just we can hold people accountable in the police department, but the next level of it has to be the state attorney's office or the DA's office needs to hold them accountable as well and prosecute officers who are doing negative things.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's all I got.
That's all I have. So thank you for watching another episode of Car to Car Podcast. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
And until next time.